All right. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time I've been live on this channel in a long time, since the time the channel got demonetized, actually. And I've had plenty of time to think. I've still been posting on this channel, obviously, and that's because, it's an active channel of almost 2,600 members. It took time and effort for me to build up to get to this point, and I don't want to just give up all my hard work just like that. So instead of doing the appeal, which I could have done, which probably would have gotten denied, I was like, man, they demonetized my content because like 5% of my YouTube shorts out of everything that I have on this video, whether it be my long videos, my short videos, they demonetized me because 5% of everything that I have on this whole channel was pre-used content, and that was for my YouTube shorts. So if you know what, I'm just not going to put as much time as I would have into this channel, obviously, until September rolls around. I will give a reapplication a try. If the channel does not succeed with the reapplication, I will either just get rid of the channel, park the channel. I shouldn't say get rid of it, because I have too much great content on here for me to really want to just get rid of it altogether. But I will leave the channel as is and maybe start again with a brand new channel. But for now, I just wanted to continue, at least on an occasional basis, on providing these lives with current topics that are on my mind. So one of the topics is what I have titled here, which is basically not letting people trick you into thinking that your talents should be used for free. This might sound like an obvious thing to some, but it might not be an obvious thing to others. And I'm going to take some time to explain what I mean by that. I've always been somebody who's done many things outside of the realm of coloring in the lines. I've always been somebody who has been able to do many different things in my life. And it's not just the things that have been laid out and mapped out before. I've had many different talents, specifically. Even from when I was young, really young, I was able to do a lot of different sports. I was able to do the arts. I was able to do I was able to play multiple different instruments. Writing was one of my talents. And then as a hobby, I liked to do photography. I liked to do videography, and I became better at those things as an adult. And I still remember the first time I had an actual talent get monetized, because the way that I feel about a job is that a job is not monetizing your talent. It's really just monetizing your ability to follow directions repeatedly, accurately, over a long course of time. That's really the reward of what a job is doing for you. But it's not really, most jobs are not really pulling out your talents from you. It is what it is. So I still remember the first time I ever got paid for a talent. Matter of fact, it's not the first time I ever got paid, because when I was probably anywhere between 10 to 12, I do remember getting paid to play my piano a couple of times. And there might have been a couple of other things, but as an adult, I can specifically remember the first time that I ever got paid to do something that was within the realm of my talents. I started off taking pictures. I've always loved taking pictures, and I've always loved making videos. And I remember that I ended up investing in a professional camera, a DSLR camera, for anyone who's interested. It was a Nikon. I can't remember. I think DS 5000 or something like that, for anyone interested in those specifics, which I know a lot won't be, but a few will be. And I remember I invested in that because people saw the footage that I was providing at certain events with my phone. That was just for fun and for hobby. And they said, I think that you have a talent to do this. And I was like, okay. So I thought about it, and I said, I'm not really loving what I'm doing work wise. So let me invest, get myself this camera. The camera was like 400 bucks. It wasn't really a $400 camera, but I got the camera from a friend who was upgrading their camera. And therefore, they had no need for the old one. And they said they wanted to give it to somebody or sell it to somebody who has a passion for the camera. So we had a whole talk about it, and I bought the camera. So then I started taking pictures with the professional camera, and a friend of mine was like, I want to hire you to take pictures of this Zumba cruise. And they were like, I'm sorry, I can't really offer you much for it, but I can give you $25 and a comp ticket, which means that basically I was able to get on the cruise for free and, get whatever amenities come with that, the food and whatever. And then I take the pictures and the $25. So to somebody who's like an established photographer, that sounds like nothing. But basically, coming from my position of only taking amateur photos, never taking a class or anything like that, never even really picking up a book and studying photography to that extent, and just my enthusiasm of making my own videos and just testing things out and seeing what works. That was a big deal to me. That was my first paid job, $25 and a comp ticket to go on this cruise. So, you live and you learn. I did the job. I'm not going to say in retrospect, the photos were okay. They could have been a lot better. There was a lot of things that I didn't know then. But again, I got $25 and a comp ticket. So they got what they paid for. I got the experience. It was a good experience for me generally. And from there, I went around to do several more jobs, and some of them were paid, some of them were not. Maybe it was like 50-50. The ones that were paid were not paid that much, and the ones that weren't paid, they were like, oh, we're going to give you the exposure. This is not all about photography. That was just one example. I've done a lot of volunteer work in my life. I have volunteered as a musician at the nursing home. I've done volunteer photography, videography jobs. I have volunteered mental health programs. I have done several mental health discussions, schools, at the park, church, like various places that people have asked me to do things. That has been a staple of my life. I've given more than I have received. And that's not to say that there was anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with giving. And I always want to have volunteer work in my life to some capacity. But the thing about it is, I reached a point in life where I was just like, how can you spend all your time volunteering your time while you're struggling? And in some cases, the people that you're volunteering for are profiting. I'm not talking about if I'm speaking to a group of students or something and they're gaining my knowledge or skills or whatever it is that I'm talking to them about. But I mean, I would go to events where somebody would ask me to do something charitable and they were getting paid for it and I was not getting paid for it. But I would feel like, because of the fact that my primary focus is the person, people, or group that I'm serving, it's okay that I'm not getting paid for that. But over some time, I started to realize, yes, it's good to have some things on your schedule that you do just out of the goodness of your heart, just because it makes you feel good and that it benefits other people. But you have to pick and choose what those things are, because if you keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving of yourself without receiving anything back, you are emptying your cup and then you don't have anything left for yourself. Don't let anybody make you feel that taking care of yourself, prioritizing your own schedule, and setting some boundaries in your life is selfish. It's not selfish, because I have been in a place in life where I have given so much of myself that I literally had a mental health breakdown. And when that happened, all those people that I was giving to were not there to be like, let's help build you back up. You've done so much for me. So therefore, I'm going to be there and walk with you side by side as you get it together. I had nobody. I mean, I won't say that I had nobody. I had, my mom, I had a few family, I had a few friends. When I say a few, I can probably list all of them on one hand. And those people that I had during that time, they know how I feel because I've told them. I still tell them 11 years after I got out of that rut. I still tell them how important they were to me and are to me, and how much it meant that they did not disappear in my time of need. But the majority of people did. So the way that I feel is, I will sit down and take a look at everything that I have to do for a given week. All right, this is on my schedule. This is on my schedule. This, and this. So if somebody says, hey, Mark, on Friday at 5 p.m., I need you to come play at this nursing home. Now, before, I would look at the calendar, and my determination of whether I would go to that nursing home at 5 p.m. on Friday was based on if I had anything on my schedule at 5 p.m. on Friday. Like, for instance, if I worked 8 to 4, because that's now my current schedule, 8 to 4, I would be like, yeah, I'm done at 4. So that means 5. I can definitely go to that nursing home. But now I'm like, based on what I'm doing for the week and based on how much the job that I'm doing demands and the things that I do outside of my job, what those things demand, and the fact that it's going to be Friday and Friday is my kind of my rest day, I would probably say no. I mean, I'm sure there's some exceptions to that, but especially if we're talking volunteer work, I would probably say no. If it was a job offer, like this is something that we are going to compensate you for, I probably would think about it a little more. Like, this is an extension of my job. But for volunteer work, I would probably say something more along the lines of, I'm sorry, unfortunately, this Friday does not work for me. I have the following dates available that I will be available that will work for me. This date, and this date. And if none of those dates work for them, then it's just not going to happen. And unapologetic about that, because even though it's a volunteer work, and it's something that you feel good about to an extent. You're still giving your time, you're still giving your energy, and you're still giving your talents. And I don't believe in just giving until you are totally depleted and then giving some more. I believe in giving within reason, within what you're able to do, with what is within your boundaries to do, and not being guilted into doing things or being made to feel like these are things that you have to do just because you are capable of them. I mean, shoot, a lot of these people that are asking you, ask them what they're doing with their time. And you might be surprised about what you find out. So that's my message for tonight. I don't know when I'm going to hop back on here, but I do still have messages to deliver. We're now in July, so it's already been probably a month since they took my monetization away, and 2 months left until I can just flat out reapply to monetize this page. And I still have more messages to give. I like delivering my messages on this page because this is the main thing that I do. Reality TV was actually just a random find. It was not something that I ever said, "Oh, I want to be the guy who comments on reality TV." Like, that was never a thing for me. It just happened one day when I said, "Hey, let me try to reach out." You know what? Shout out to two pages, the Mike Lewis podcast and Big Brother Boy. Now, there's big podcasts out there. Like, Rob has a podcast, and there's other ones out there. After Buzz TV, that's the one that I started on. And when I watched those ones, I was like, I don't really think I can do that. But it's cool to listen. But those two particular podcasts that I just mentioned, I was like, these are regular guys, and they just sit in front of the camera and they talk. And then in the case of Mike Lewis, I was like, how did he interview Wes Bergman and like Polly, and like there's some long list. He's interviewed, I don't know anybody who's really, outside of maybe those major podcasters, I don't know anyone else who has just gotten within that community and just interviewed all those people. And I was like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. And that's no disrespect to him. I like his interviews and everything. But I also said to myself, he's not a celebrity. He's not somebody who's been on one of the shows. He's not somebody who has, 300, 400,000 subscribers or anything, but he has found his niche within these different communities. So I was like, you know what? I can give it a try. And that's pretty much what inspired me to start. And, I still do it. It's not, I don't do it as consistently as others. I believe that you are what you work for. And I believe that I'm not in the position right now as I was a couple of years ago to say, oh, I'm putting in this grind in an attempt to drop my job and then do this full time. Like, those days are, I'm not going to say they're over because I'm an optimistic person. So I'm not going to say that's never going to happen. I'm just going to say at this time, I don't have the capacity to do that. In the same way I'm talking about capacity for volunteering, I don't have the capacity to do this the way that I used to. And will that change? Who knows? But if you follow my other page, Mindful Reality, you're going to see a lot more of me in July through September because of two things. Big Brother season 26 and what's it called? The Challenge season 40. And Survivor is probably going to get tossed in there somewhere. That's my heavy hitter time of year on the other page. But that's my advertisement. But to wrap up my statement, yeah, take care of you. Don't feel like you have to say yes to everything. Don't let anyone guilt you, pressure you into something that you are not in a position to do or you don't have the capacity to do right now. We know ourselves, know yourself, and know your limits, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. That's my mental health message for the night. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for whenever I drop some more great content. Thank y'all. Have a great one.